Alright folks, welcome to this exciting video where this is actually a prehistoric rampart I'm standing in for the old hill fort that we documented in the last video. But today's video we're joined by Highlander 87 and we're actually waiting upon Sean up here to document what could be an old ruin of a building dating back to ancient times. We could just see a little picture of it on the satellite image, so we're just basically going with that. And this is basically the lands between Glen Clova and Glen Doll, and you can kind of see how high on the hills we are right here. It's just a majestic scene. Look at that there with the sun shining on the last of the hilltops at this side. It's just breathtaking, folks. Anyway, let's get into action. We're going to go onto the proper path and then head on up and then hopefully pop out of the forest a wee bit further up. So check this out, folks. We can actually see the edge of the forest, that tiny light patch up ahead. And we've actually pushed through adversity and we've come up this little forest track. From the opening clip of this, we've just been going up in altitude, climbing this path, and I've been pretty gassed out, and that's why I've not really been recording a lot. I've just been so out of breath. But I think we just literally need to go to the edge of this forest here and then go along to the left. And I'm pretty sure that that house remains should be along here. So let's have a look, folks. Look at this, folks, we've come so far on the hill, we've actually got the snow, and that's the first snow of winter on on this year's videos. I can actually see some deer up ahead as well. What a land. I'm thinking it might be along here. I'm sure there is a track or a road a wee bit further up. So I'm just going up this snowy incline here until we get to such a place on the land. Yeah, there's a total mad view over the hills, over the glen. And this is what I suspected was an old road, or an old track leading along. But when I look at the map pictures, it looks like the wee cottage has actually got trees at both sides of it. And that's why I'm a bit suspicious if it is actually up that way. I think we could even just go back that way along the edge of the trees. Because see, this is what I thought was an old road leading over the hill. But definitely, there must be a bit leads in, like on the map. Check this out, folks, here's a cool wintry scene. Look at these icicles in the burn. The way the water has formed them. It shows how cold it is. Wow. What a scene of Scotland on today's videos. Whoa, there's a wee splash on the lens. Must have been from the burn water as it was splashing over the icicles. I was just going to have a wee walk along, but I think we can't go wrong if we follow the edge of the forest. Because there is definitely like an area that leads in, and in the middle of it there is like remains of a building. Sometimes it's hard to navigate. At this time of year we've got no signal, so the pictures of the glen I've got are just ones that I've screenshotted. Yeah, this is an interesting bit on the land here. It's almost like it's been dug out like a dam. I was theorising originally as well that the track came along somewhere here, but it's hard to say. Look at this view, looking over all the hills, it's just incredible. So this view here is actually the highest point on today's walk. We've been walking up so high to get up this hill, but it's because when you're in the forest you're kind of limited as to where the track goes. You didn't really have a second option, and that's how we've ended up coming out here. But one time in the summer when I came right over the top of these hills here, I actually ended up coming down and walking through the forest, and it's incredible at this time of year how different it can actually be compared to that time in the summer. But yeah, this will be cool, maybe going around the edge of here. We might hit to use the forest at times and we'll hit to see how steep it gets in places. It'll be fun. Even if we can't find the cottage, folks, you know how it is, folks. It's a mad winter adventure. We're out here in the snow and it is just something different every week. We've never been up here in the winter like this. There's so many deer up on the hill there. There must be like 30 of them or 40. Look at this, folks. Look how hardy the Scottish heather is here growing at the side of the waterfall. It's literally growing within the icicles. Wow, I love to see it. The icicles growing right off the side of that. I'm going in to get a closer look. Check out how the ice is on all the plants. I just love it, folks. Little scenes like that. It's like a miniature world, a little miniature biome. I think we need to kind of go through this fence up ahead and then down there. Mission on, folks. Finding remains of history. Even on the old maps, it's not actually marked as even being a building there. And that's how I thought. I wanted to come and see what was there. And we've actually dragged Highlander along for this adventure as well, folks. You know how it is. We're always out in mad landscapes, trying to find the coolest history. And sometimes it's places like this, it's desolate for miles around. Sometimes when you're on an adventure to see one bit of history, you end up finding something completely different, or you end up seeing something incredible, like a wee bit of landscape like that waterfall. The way it freezes. Look, I think the deer have been rubbing their antlers on here. See how it's worn it away? Because there's so many deer and stags on these hills. Yeah, look at it, wow. See, basically it could be anywhere within a massive cove. Like, it's not, I'm calling it a cove, it's like a tree cove. It's within an area that leads away in an avenue of green trees like that, but that's not it there. Check it out, folks, real winter adventures on the channel. Look at the views out over all these hills. Every time I'm waiting to switch the camera off, I just look around and think, wow. The landscape of Scotland is just breathtaking. And I'm just keeping my eyes peeled. It could even be like down in on the right down here, if that's another bit that steps into the land. We just need to analyse it as we go. We could go straight down the side of these trees ahead. That was a close scene here. It's so slippy and icy.
It's so wet.
We need to take each footstep as it comes. Making our way down. There's loads of these little burns that actually carve these grooves down the hill. And then there's other bits like this that are big chunks of rock. Yeah, the water's churning and gurgling down that side. Wow, look at it there. That's not actually where the history is then, so we just need to basically punch on over. As we come down the hill here, folks, we're just analysing it, because we didn't want to miss anything. That's so crazy. Some bits you can't even tell the water's below you, but yet it could be flowing and carving deep holes. You could disappear in these hills, away down vast areas. See how deep it is here? Wow. See, I think we could just step over here easy enough. Yeah, it could be so deep here because it's like more than 10 foot high there. And you've got to think nobody's probably even stood here, so the chances of it giving way is quite high. Yes, that was the worst probably, but look at the big chunk of stain. You can hardly see the water. And then look, it must flow this way at times as well. It's just flowing all over these places. Check it out, folks, we've followed the forest line from the high hilltop glen, and look, we're now coming round to the edge, and beyond the edge you can see how far above the lower glen that we are right now. And I'm just hoping the land cuts in to the right, well, the trees I should say, so there's a big opening, because I think within the land to the right somewhere is where the cottage remains is. Highlander's got himself here into the wire here on the hill.
It's a trap.
That's what you get now and again. Look how boggy it is at this section. Ideally we want to just stick to the edge of the forest, but I think we're going to go round this area. It is frozen, which is doing us a favour. Wow, yeah, the hill fort's right there from the last video. We've done some mad walk to get there. Listen to this, folks, the water gurgling and pouring, and look, there's holes like that. See if you fell down there, you could be a goner. That all runs off the hill down into that area. Yeah, I think if we stick along the edge of the forest here, it goes away in, and I think the cottage is within that area. What a mad adventure we've been on today, folks. We're well above the lands of Clover, and we're actually racing against sunset, but we pretty much know our way off this hill safe enough, even if it does get darker. I think we can't go wrong if we just follow the edge of this forest, look at this. This almost looks like it's been shaped, eh? See here? It's like it's been dug out. Do you think this is linked to the lower hill fort? Wow, look at this, folks. Long time viewers of my channel will realise, like, sometimes one video can tell you a bit of history about what we saw in the last video. Look, I'm on the highest point. This is near the cottage. This video was meant to be a cottage remains, but this could be related to the hill fort lower down in the glen. And look at this for a scene. Anyway, we need to keep it moving. I just love recording every bit of my adventure sometimes, but then the video ends up being too long. This is it, folks. This is what we were looking for in the hill. It's a bit where the trees cut in. I believe at the top of here somewhere there'll be the outline of an old building or a ruin. I think this is it. Not unless it's another cutout in a nearby vicinity. It doesn't look like this one goes in far enough. I was super excited there early on. It's amazing how there's loads of little valleys like this within the trees. When you turn around, it's a scene like that. We're on the right track now, folks. We've literally seen it on the map picture I've got. I've recognised the landscape now to, like, when we've walked round and in here. I know fine that it's definitely up here. We were just thinking the path we walked in is right up along by these trees, so potentially we've come right past this site, or maybe it's not even as it looks on the map. But sometimes these videos is just a cool adventure like this. Like, we never know what we're going to see. We try our best to keep finding structures. Some of the structures that we document are literally not even on the map, and that's why we love coming to extreme places like this. When it was a little house, like the road or whatever that came up to it, who knows what direction it came. Yeah, this is crazy, look at it. It's just like a forest mixed with the boulders of the hill right here. Because I think on the old map there was like, well, not sorry, on the old map, on the Google Earth, there was literally 2 buildings. Yeah, I know, we've walked up the side there, but where must it be? Up here somewhere? Or is it gone nowadays? Surely if we just go along here we'll see it, because we're on the highest point of the land. And if we didn't see anything, we'll just have to cut back down to the track. Check out, folks, this is the waterfall that we saw way down at the bottom of the hill. And we're basically making our way along the top of here. So I think that building is just along, if we keep following the tree line. It's been a crazy adventure. We've actually walked so close to this place already, that's why it's kind of like, it's mad the direction we've come to actually get here. But it's just one of those things sometimes for adventures. Trying to navigate or pinpoint a certain place on the land, it can be difficult. And sometimes the steepness of the terrain as well can be extreme. Look at this, folks, at the edge of the forest here, it almost looks like there's been another waterfall coming down here at a certain time. Yeah, and maybe when there's extreme weathers the water still runs down. I'm just hoping the little building, there'll be remains but round this corner. So far we've not actually seen anything. It's incredible because on Google Earth there's a clear rectangle in the land which should be visible, especially since we've come up here to the high ground around the edge of its location. On the map it's literally just like down here somewhere. I can't believe there's no sign of it. Again, it must just be a trick of the light. It's unbelievable that. I think.
Have you even seen any markings in the ground?
Nah, I can't believe it because on the map it does look like a rectangle, but we can't really hang about because we've got a mad mission still to get back to the car. And I'm thinking we should go just down the side of the forest, eh? Yeah. And try and get another route, and we might actually realise that there is another way in where there could be a building. So check it out, folks, it's now getting pretty dark. We're down within the frozen forest and we're passing by this waterfall. We actually avoided going down the cliff around the edge of the forest because it looked so sheer and so dangerous. Check this out, it's what a beautiful scene. If it is getting too dark now, I'll actually lighten it up a bit in the editor so you can see us, you can see what's going on. That's been a crazy adventure today. It's often mad when you're seeking history or looking for remains of a building like that. The other areas of Scotland you end up going into, and today's adventure, it was fun to see that snow and the way the ice had formed on the waterfall. I always just enjoy seeing that. It's the true beauty of nature. It's like a photograph. And this little forest walk on the way back down has just been paradise. Even at this time of year, we can hear the call of the wee birds and stuff in the trees. It's not quite as much as the summertime, but in the winter you get the robins and the blackbirds and stuff here kicking about. Check it out, folks. Look at this big boulder that at one time must have come fleeing down the hill through the trees and landed at this point. It's mad because in the summer when I walked through here, the landscape was just so different. It's been amazing today to see these hills covered in snow, and I just love these adventures. You can probably see in the footage it's gone down an octave in light. It looks like a big nugget of granite. Oh aye, right there, eh? That's crazy, the way it looks. Oh aye. That's super interesting to see that, this big stone. It's probably come from high up on the hill, higher than we were today, past all those snow covered areas. Even though we didn't see the history, the landscape today was the fun thing, and that's been a wee bonus video, a wee bonus adventure. Sometimes years ago, if we didn't actually find the historical item, I wouldn't upload the video. But that's not what it's about nowadays, folks. You can see the wild lands that we actually go through when we're trying to find the history. Today it's been this part of Glen Clova, or Glen Doll, most of which we had never seen before. And it was cool to look down on the hill fort from the last video. From the higher altitude, you could kind of see more of the layout of the hill fort. So the cold temperatures in at this time of year probably didn't come across on the video, but when I come off the main path onto the edge, I can feel the grass crisp and crunchy underfoot. And that is insane. The cold time of years come around so quick, and it is amazing in exploring season when we're able to go into these more wild, rugged situations or places, some of those bits where there's no path. It's just so much fun to explore and to see what's around each corner. And with tonight's adventure, we've been able to see so many incredible views from high on the hill. The way the sunlight was lighting up those far hills away up the glen, I just absolutely love it. So check this out, folks. Look at this view looking up towards Corrie Fee with the sunset in the hill behind the hills. You can just see the silhouette of them. And it's just an absolutely magical scene out here tonight for this video. I just love scenes like this. And it's often like one certain minute of the day, the landscape can look so different to the next minute. And it's so cool on these videos just to capture it over the years with different adventures. Each time exploring a different wee bit of the land. And tonight, to see that snowy covered hill, I loved seeing that waterfall with the icicles. That made this adventure so special. Even the bit of the forest we walked up through, it was crazy at times. Proper mossy and steep boulders where the path had been washed out. The mountains here in Glen Clova and Glen Doll, it's just massive rocky mountains. Every now and again you get massive boulders or big chunks just breaking off and rolling down. Check this out, folks. From the wildest hilltop, we've made it back down to the tar of this road. And in this week's videos, we've actually documented, in the last video it was actually the hill fort, which is at a real high altitude. But in tonight's video, we've been right up in the snow line, which is so high up in the hills. It's probably a good 600 metres, or well, probably more than that. It's probably 600 or 700 metres up in these hills. And it's so much fun having these adventures into the wildest of lands. That's probably one of the waterfalls we've seen many times. Further up the hill, we were just jumping over little streams and trying to navigate to what we thought was a cottage. Look at the moon's out. If you could see the light shining through the trees, it's actually the moon. And once again, we've made the most of these short winter days. Since we came to the lands of Glen Doll, we've recorded 2 videos. You may have seen the last one and then this one. And before that, I actually recorded the old ducat of Carriston Castle, and all that was actually today for me. So you can imagine how far I've walked to record all those things. But check it out with the moon up behind the sky. It's been another mad adventure in the lands of Glen Doll. I'll end this one here, folks. Thanks very much for watching. Goodbye from me. Goodbye from Highlander 87. And we'll catch you very soon for the next one, wherever we end up going.